Habari watu wa Kisumu. Habari. Tia Mabel. Mulembe. Uliena. Makua. Your Excellency, President Ruto, President of the Republic of Kenya, mawaziri wote na watu wa Kisumu na Kenya. We are here to do a very important job. This is kutema extinde, meaning to break the ground. To break the ground for the railway from Kisumu to Malaba, the SGR, the modern railway. The railway is part of the rationalization. Hilo jambo la Kiingereza rationalization linamaanisha kuweka vitu barabara zaidi. This railway is part of the rationalization of our transport system, especially on the Uganda side, which is irrational and wasteful. Sauti, I'm scared. Hello? I was saying that the railway is part of the rationalization of our transport system, especially on the Uganda side, which is irrational and wasteful. Why? Because the items being transported are concentrated on the road, i.e. passengers, light cargo, heavy cargo, petroleum products are all on the roads. Sasa hivi usafiri kwa barabara ni mchanganyiko. Kwa lugha za Uganda tunasema akatogo. Akatoga means kuchanganya maharagwe na ndizi. So the transport now is akatogo on the roads. Our plan is to transfer all heavy cargo to the railway. Hii ndio maana ya hii mradi. Mizigo yote mizito sana toka kwa barabara kwenda kwa gari moshi. Ndio maana yake. Then transfer all the petroleum products to the pipeline. Gari za mafuta kwa barabara ni hatari kwa maisha, tena zinaharibu barabara na zinaleta ajali. So heavy cargo kwenda kwa gari moshi, mafuta kwenda kwa pipeline. The railway can combine also water transport. Now, this now leaves the roads for passengers and light cargo. This is the whole plan. Kutoa uharibifu na gharama kali kwa usafirishaji mizigo mizito kwenda kwa gari moshi. Mambo ya vitu vyote vya mafuta kwa pipeline. Hiyo inamaanisha nini? Kwa barabara tumeacha wasafiri, watu pamoja na mizigo maridadi. In transporting heavy cargo and petroleum products to the pipeline and the railway, we are not aiming at just convenience and crowding the roads by all the items, but we are also looking at the competitiveness of the economies. Kwa sababu bidhaa tunalima shambani, tunatengeneza viwandani, lazima hivi bidhaa mtu mwingine anunue. Sasa bidhaa zetu zikiwa gari kali vitakosa soko. Hakuna mtu anaweza kununua kitu cha bei ya juu, kumbe mchina anafanya kile kitu kwa bei ya chini. So it is madness to go on with the road transport for cargo for the railway. It is suicide. Tunakuwa tunajua sisi wenyewe. Hatuweze kushindana kwenye soko za ulimwengu. For Africa to survive, we have to not only produce products of high quality, but also affordable in terms of costs. Bidhaa zetu kutoka viwandani, kutoka shambani, lazima viwe kwenye hali nzuri, lakini vile kwenye gharama, kwenye low prices, gharama ya chini. According to our experience, the high cost pushers for raw materials, manufactured goods, and agricultural products are transport, energy like electricity, and the cost of money. Kule kwetu tumechambua, tunaona kwamba vitu ambavyo vinapandisha gharama za vitu ni vitu vitatu: usafirishaji, umeme na mikopo kwenye bank. Kama nataka uchumi wako uendelee, lazima uangalie haya mambo matatu. Lazima gharama ya usafiri iwe ya chini, gharama ya umeme iwe ya chini. Umeme kwa night clubs sijari kama uko juu. If the electricity for night clubs is high, yule ambaye ataka kwenda kwenye night club aache. Lakini umeme kwa kiwanda lazima uwe chini. So these are the three cost pushers which I have seen myself: the cost of transport for goods, the cost of electricity, and the cost of money borrowed in banks. That's why Africa has been import-oriented. If you go to a bank, commercial bank, and you borrow money which is 20% interest, how will you manage to manufacture goods? How will you manage? Lakini uchenda Uchina na kuleta nywele za watu ambao walikufa zamani, na kuleta perfumes, unazuza hapa kwa gari kali, you will pay back the loan from the bank, but the manufacturer will not manage. So this is really part of the liberation movement. If Africa does not address these, we shall be outpriced and our goods will not be competitive even within Africa. Even within Africa. This is now where the railway transport, water transport, the pipeline of petroleum products, and government-owned banks come in. That's why in Uganda, we privatized some banks, but we kept Uganda Development Bank under the government, the Housing Bank, Post Bank, and some other banks. Because we want banks which are not looking for high profits. We want banks which are looking for cost recovery and a modest profit, but mainly service delivery. Transformation, which His Excellency President Ruto was talking about. These banks, if they are government-owned, will not be looking for high profits. They will be looking at cost recovery, and moderate profits. They will give us what we need: low cost of transport, low cost of money, and low cost of electricity. The private sector can come in, but the government needs to agree with them about the prices that they charge. Our experience is that in these three crucial areas, especially the railway and electricity, for the banks, we kept our banks, government banks, to fund manufacturing. So if you want to go to commercial bank, wakuibie huko kwenda, you have no problem. But for manufacturing, UDB, Uganda Development Bank. But for the railway, you know, we had part of the problem of the meter gauge railway, that railway, the one of Naivasha, Molo, Eldoret. We had tried to privatize it. And that's how it got into problems. The private people were looking for high profits. That's how they got into all these problems. We have now taken it back. Private sector can come in the electricity, but we must agree beforehand about the prices. What prices are you going to charge per kilowatt hour? For the two, the railway and the electricity. Other things, I don't mind. Road transport, if the garam is too high, stay at home. Where are you going? But for the railway and electricity, they are the bone marrow of the economy. What do you call bone marrow in Swahili? Huh? Mtu wa mgongo. Waswahili hawana maneno ya kutosha. Nitawaletea maneno ya kule bara. Kwa Uganda tunasema musomyo, na kwa Kinyankole tunasema umshokoro. bone marrow. The bone marrow of the economy is electricity and transport, especially rail transport. So therefore, I'm very happy to be here to take part in this historic. I want to congratulate Kenya for struggling and bringing the railway from Mombasa to Nairobi, from Nairobi to Naivasha, now from Naivasha to here, and now from here to Malaba. We are going to push our part. We are already pushing our part from Malaba to Kampala, from Kampala to Kasese, Kasese to Mpondwe, linking with DRC. And then we are working on the railway from Tororo to Gulu to Nimule to Juba, and also on the line from Bihanga to Kigali, on the other, a branch. So you people who have come here, you are, every one of you should take a picture of yourself here, because you are now part of history. Future generations will say, my grandmother was also here when Africa was waking up. Unajua shida ya Afrika ni kulala. Wanapenda kulala, mambo yanakwenda mbele ambao umelala. Lakini sasa mnaona tunaamka pole pole. Kwa hiyo kulala kwa lugha wanasemaje? Nino. Kwa lugha kulala wanasemaje? Nino. Kwa actually tunasema nino. Okay, hiyo. Kwa hiyo namshukuru Rais Ruto kwa kazi nzuri amefanya kutualika hapa. Namshukuru ndugu yangu marehemu Raila Odinga na marehemu Mwai Kibaki walishughulika sana kuleta reli kutoka Mombasa, na Rais Uhuru, wote wametoa mchango kwa kusukuma project hii. So I congratulate His Excellency Ruto and the people of Kenya, and I am really happy, very happy with you. Thank you so much. Mungu awabariki.
Wapi makofi ya mzee Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. Mheshimiwa Rais, Your Excellency President Kaguta Yoweri Museveni, President of our sister country of Uganda. Ndugu viongozi wote mliofanya hapa na mliofika siku ya leo. Jo Kisumu untie. Jo Kisumu umor. Ndugu wa Kenya hamjambo. Ladies and gentlemen, it is in moments such as this, when we gather as a nation and as a region to break ground for infrastructure development that will define generations, that the destinies of our people, our cities, and our nations are shaped. History teaches us with clarity. Close to 130 years ago, along this very corridor, the British colonial administration conceived what was then known as the Uganda Railway. Its purpose was to link the Indian Ocean at Mombasa to to the interior of East Africa, thereby securing territory, controlling movement, and extracting value from the hinterland of the colonial administration. In this original design, the railway would run inland from Mombasa, pass through Nairobi and the Rift Valley, and terminate in Kisumu on the shores of Lake Victoria. From there, goods, officials, and troops would cross the lake by steamer to Uganda through Port Bell and Entebbe. But from the very beginning, the railway did more than move people and goods. It reshaped the geography of our region. Mombasa was reinforced as the gateway of trade. Machakos, once an administrative center of the British East African Protectorate, was bypassed and declined in significance because it lay off the line. And Nairobi, then a swampy, flood-prone rail depot, established in 1899, rose because it sat on the railway. Nairobi became a logistical hub, then an administrative center, and ultimately the capital of British East Africa. Without the railway, Nairobi, as we know it today, might never have existed. As the line advanced westwards to Nakuru and onward to Kisumu in 1901, it opened the Rift Valley and the lake region to trade. Kisumu became a vital inland port, linking rail to lake transport and facilitating movement into Mombasa. But the break between rail and water proved slow, costly, and inefficient. And so the railway advanced again. Beginning in 1920, it was extended inland from Nakuru across the then so-called White Islands, reaching Eldoret in 1924, and then onward through Malaba to Tororo and Jinja, and finally to Kampala in 1931. In so doing, it became a continuous artery into the heart of the East African region. That extension reshaped our region. Eldoret emerged as an agricultural powerhouse. Jinja became an industrial center. Kampala, already the political seat of Buganda Kingdom, was elevated into a stronger administrative and commercial capital, and its influence amplified by direct access to the coast. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the lesson of history. That infrastructure development does not just connect places, it often creates them. It determines where opportunity thrives, where investment flows, and where prosperity takes root. Unfortunately, the 130-year-old meter gauge railway line that was once a lifeline of regional commerce was neglected and gradually fell into disrepair, losing both its vitality and transformative impact. Yet, even in decline, the vision of connectivity never faded. In 2008, it is in this enduring vision that brought together the late President Mwai Kibaki and His Excellency President Yoweri Museveni, who jointly laid the foundation for a modern high-capacity railway, one that would link Mombasa to Kampala with strategic branches to Kisumu in Kenya and Pakwach in Uganda. Additionally, the presidents of Kenya, Uganda, and Rwanda not only pronounced themselves on the plan to extend the standard gauge railway to Kampala, Kigali, and Juba, but also signed the the SGR protocol and tripartite agreement to ensure development and management of a seamless railway system. It is therefore most fitting that our elder statesman, President Museveni, is here with us today to witness this vision taking shape. Thank you, Mzee, for your leadership, your vision, and your steadfast commitment to the unity and integration of our region. Building on that foundation, Kenya took decisive steps in 2014 by breaking ground on Phase 1A of the SGR, stretching 472 kilometers from Mombasa to Nairobi. This was later extended inland to Suswa in Narok, covering an additional 120 kilometers, further advancing the corridor towards the region's hinterland. 2 days ago, we broke ground for the extension of the SGR from Narok to Kisumu, a distance of 264 kilometers that forms Phase 2B of this railway network. That line will connect our industrial corridor in Nairobi to the agricultural heartlands of Narok, Bomet, Kericho, and Nyamira, and ultimately to Kisumu. Today, here at Kibos in Kisumu, we take yet another decisive and consequential step. We break ground on the 107-kilometer Kisumu Malaba section of the SGR, completing nearly 1,000 kilometers seamless rail link from Mombasa to Malaba, and forming a vital connection to the Malaba-Kampala line. Beyond Kenya and Uganda, this railway line will serve our partner states in the region, including Rwanda, Burundi, South Sudan, the Democratic Republic of Congo, and the Central African Republic. It is a powerful statement of regional integration, partnership, and shared ambition. Ladies and gentlemen, our region faces a clear and urgent challenge. Our economies are not generating sufficient opportunities to match the pace of our rapidly growing populations. At the same time, our businesses continue to grapple with high logistics costs that undermine competitiveness. In many cases, transport and related costs account for between 30 and 40% of the final value of goods. Cargo takes an average of 80 hours to move from Mombasa to Malaba and more than 100 hours to reach Kampala. We cannot build prosperity on inefficiency. That is why we must invest in modern, efficient transport and connectivity systems, not only as transport, but also as economic hubs. Along this Mombasa-Malaba corridor, we will promote the development of industrial parks, logistics hubs, and commercial centers driven by private sector investment and anchored in regional trade. Right here in Kibos, there will be a special economic zone connected to this SGR. In Busia, there will be another special economic zone connected to this SGR. This is a proven model, one that has delivered rapid transformation by aligning infrastructure with industry, trade, and investment. And we have already seen what this investment can deliver. Over the past 8 years, the SGR has transported more than 15 million passengers and over 45 million tons of freight. It has reduced transport costs, improved efficiency, and contributed significantly to growth of our economy. With this expansion, we expect even greater impact. Freight costs are projected to decline by at least 40% at a ton for every kilometer, while transit times for freight will reduce by nearly 30%. The share of cargo moved by rail will increase, easing pressure on our roads and reducing wear and tear. But beyond the numbers lies something even greater. This railway will connect farmers to markets. It will move livestock and farm produce from our hinterland to Nairobi and onward to Mombasa for export, tea from Western Kenya, Kericho, and other towns, dairy from Bomet and other regions in Narok, grains from Rift Valley, and of course fish from Lake Victoria will reach markets faster and much more efficiently. It will power industrial growth along the corridor from Nairobi to Naivasha to Kisumu and beyond, enable businesses to access inputs more efficiently and affordably, and reaching wider markets. It will create opportunities for our young people across construction, logistics, manufacturing, and services sectors, giving them a stake in the growth of our region. Above all, this railway will bring life to our long-held aspiration for true regional integration, for which Your Excellency President Museveni, as the chair of our East African Community region now, I promise and pledge to work with you as the champion of integration in our continent, that the vision of an East Africa that is integrated, that is united and works together becomes a reality in this generation. It will enable the seamless movement of people and goods from Mombasa through Nairobi, across Kenya's hinterland, and onward to Kampala, to DRC, to Rwanda, to Burundi, to South Sudan, transforming journeys that once took days into trips in hours. Ladies and gentlemen, if the railway of the past century shaped the character of our region, then the railway we build today must define its future. Some 100 years from now, when future generations look back on this moment, let them see it as a turning point, the moment when we laid the foundation for their prosperity, strengthening the bonds of regional integration, and setting in motion a new era of growth, of dignity, and shared opportunity for our region, our countries, and our continent. Let me say this in conclusion. I remember very well when our late Prime Minister Raila Odinga was appointed the Africa Union High Representative on matters infrastructure. One of the most consequential suggestions that he made is the connection of the East African region to the West African region, using this very route through Kenya to Uganda to DRC to Congo Brazzaville, all the way to the Atlantic Ocean on the other side. I am confident that wherever he is proud of this moment, that finally what he envisioned as representative of the AU of connecting our region is finally underway right here in Kisumu, onward to Uganda. And I am informed by President Museveni that the section from Malaba to Kampala is already awarded and is underway, and finally it will be connected from Kampala to Kasese in the DRC border. Your Excellency, this is a very proud moment for us as Kenya, as we see this infrastructural development that is not just a rail, it is a commercial lifeline, it is a logistics hub, and it is a regional investment that is going to transform the business environment, is going to transform the fortunes of our farmers, of our producers, of our industrialists, of our business people and create wealth in our region. Kwa watu wa Kisumu na watu wa sehemu hii, vile kiongozi wetu wa ODM alivyosema, mpango wa kusukuma hii reli kutoka pale Naivasha, mnajua tulielezwa ya kwamba na wengine wachache wakasema ile reli imekuwa reli to nowhere. We are now telling them it was never a railway to nowhere. It was always our plan that this railway was going to be a railway to prosperity. It was going to be a railway to the transformation of the Republic of Kenya. And the naysayers, the people who don't believe in the transformation of Kenya, we want to persuade them that it may take a little while. It may have delayed a bit in Narok, but today we are making sure that this transport corridor, this logistics corridor, is going to transform not just the East African community, but it is going to position Kenya, Mombasa, and the East African region as a region for economic transformation. Let me also say, while right here in Kisumu, that here in Kibos, we are going to set aside 1,000 acres to build a special economic zone that is going to be connected to this SGR. It is a program that we have worked with and we have worked on. And as I have said, I was a few days in the county of Busia, and the people of Busia equally informed me that they would want this railway to be connected to Busia town, and I did commit to them that the special economic zone in Busia is going to be connected to the standard gauge railway as we transform the economy of the East African region. The governor of Busia is right here, and he knows the request of the people of Busia when I was there a few days ago. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not the only piece of infrastructure that we are undertaking in Kenya. We are at the moment constructing 6,000 kilometers of new tarmac in different places in Kenya. This evening, I will be launching such one road in Holo to Alela as part of connecting Kenya. We are also undertaking transformation in our electricity generation and distribution. We are also undertaking the transformation of our education sector, hiring more teachers, funding more students, building more classrooms, and aligning our education with the needs of the 21st century. We are also reforming and transforming our health delivery systems to make them much more robust, include more citizens, and universalize access to health as is required of us by our Constitution. The transformation of Kenya is underway in many areas, as has been acknowledged by even those who don't agree with us. The railway is now underway. The Mau Summit Rironi Road is underway. The Jomo Kenyatta International Airport shortly will be underway. We have concluded the building of Talanta. We are on course building a new modern conference facility at Bomas of Kenya, and on and on and on. Even the naysayers, even those who never believed in what we are doing, those who said nothing was happening, today they confess with their own mouths that indeed Kenya is undergoing transformation. No wonder it is said that God will change your enemies to work for you. And I'm sure they are working for us. Mimi nawaeleza ndugu zangu watu wa Kisumu, mimi niko hapa leo, nitakuwa hapa kesho, nitakuwa hapa kesho kutwa. Sasa nyinyi ile mtafanya, mtaanza kunizoea. Mtaanza kufanya nini? Mwanze kunizoea. Sijui kama tunaelewana baba. Tunaelewana? Na kazi ya kubadilisha taifa letu la Kenya inaendelea. Barabara tunajenga, watoto wetu tunawasomesha, health delivery ya universal inasonga mbele, mambo ya kuunganisha stima inasonga mbele, tunajenga infrastructure tofauti tofauti, na tunawatangazia wale ambao wanataka kushindana na sisi ya kwamba miradi yetu ya maendeleo inaendelea. Kenya tunaitransform, na mimi nataka niwaambie tuko tayari na tuko kadi. Kama mnataka hiyo, tuko kadi tayari. We are ready for you when the time comes.